just sit there and go, taco time.
Yeah, there you go.
Just go for a walk. The food's unbelievable.
I got a question here. A text. You can text at 82945. Jimmy Dunn, our in-studio guest. He's hanging out with us here this morning. Do you have a clue when the remaining 2 episodes that were filmed of the McCarthys are going to air, or are you and the cast in the dark?
We are somewhat in the dark. This is what I do know. About the second week of May, the network will make their announcement for who's getting renewed and who's not.
Mm-hmm.
So we really won't know until then.
Yeah.
And if and when we get a second season, they'll probably run those remaining episodes at the front end of that. So probably in the fall. They could run them sometime if some other shows get pulled from schedules. You don't really know about the schedule. They will air at some point, though.
Is there an opportunity if CBS says we're not going to pick it up?
Right.
Is there an opportunity for someone else to pick it up?
It's a great question. I believe there is. And there are a lot of places where sitcoms are going these days, including Netflix and some of the other networks. I don't think we'd end up on one of the major networks.
I say AMC, make it a show a little bit more violent.
Yeah, you could do that. Or McGee could throw some real.
Start cooking meth.
McGee could start throwing some haymakers. You know what I mean?
Yep. I can see it.
Just like that show, The Slap. Maybe he could hit a basketball player, and the whole show could change on a dime like
changes.
that.
I go for a cheeseburger and I get slapped.
Lori, I want to ask about Lori Metcalf.
The coolest person in the world.
She was on Roseanne. She played Roseanne's sister way back then. She's got a pedigree. I mean, the girl's been on a million things. Yeah. And very funny. Is she? Even though McGee is older, does she bring more chops to the show? And I'm a big fan of Jack McGee.
Jack McGee is I'm a huge fan of Jack McGee's, and he's the nicest guy in the world. And Jack McGee is a guy who can really get laughs. That's kind of what he does. I do the same thing. Lori is a classically trained actress.
Right.
And so she can bring a range of emotions.
Chops.
And you watch her. And I watch her work, and I watch her practice all week, and I watch her take little things and turn them into big laughs and big dramatic moments. She's amazing. And we just went to see her. She's in a play right now up in L.A.
Yeah.
And I went to see her do that, and she's a completely different person in this play.
Right.
And really amazing, and she's the real deal.
When you film in front of a live studio audience, I know some magazines don't get that.
Yeah.
Magazines down in Boston,
It's not a laugh track. It's real people laughing.
But let me ask this. When you go out and you film a scene and you blow it, what's the reaction when you do it again? I mean, like the first time, like Scotty never wants anything to be – I can't give anything to Scotty ahead of time.
Greg does not like go to commercials and he reads, hey, here's today's who's the –
It's off the cuff.
I want to know. I want to hear it
first
for the
reaction
first time.
is the best. Now, some people like it. So what's it like with a studio audience when you have to do a second or maybe third or fourth take?
Usually every scene that you see on a show, we will have done probably 4 times in front of an audience. And the first one, hopefully you don't boot your line in the first one, and hopefully they get that surprise thing.
Right.
But then a lot of times the lines, what the writers will do is they'll come in and say, hey, we can make this a little funnier right here.
Right.
Jimmy, try saying this. And they'll give you lines on the fly.
Right.
So you have to be able to take that all in. And so you'll watch the same thing 4 times, but it'll change a lot. So now they're watching for the changes, too.
Right.
So you don't really want to boot the first one. But if you boot the second or third one, it's not the end of the world. If you boot the first one, it's not the end of the world either. It's sort of part of the process, and they like being in on that.
If it was Scotty, they'd have to clear out the audience, get a whole new audience.
Get a whole new audience, bring in another 300 people.
And that's a whole other thing. Do people just hang out in Hollywood waiting to go to shows? Who goes to these shows?
We have a lot of very loyal fans that come to every one of our tapings.
No kidding.
They're New Kids on the Block fans. And we do this in the middle of our taping. Joey will do an impromptu concert, and we kind of join along. It's really fun. So we have a lot of hardcore, they call them the blockheads, and they're the best. They're super supportive. But then a lot of the other people are there on vacation, taking in Hollywood, and they sign up for these things and go, hey, we can go see the taping of a live show. And if you've never seen one, and if you're a fan of sitcoms, it's really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
really
cool.
It's a cool process.
Excellent. All right, Jimmy Dunn's going to hang out for a little bit here. We do this thing called Why'd You Post That? Talking about social media and the things you post on social media and why it makes you look like an idiot. Take the Kurt Schilling story, for example.
That's why I just post pictures of cheeseburgers.
Yeah, I know. This is way less. That's nothing like the Kurt Schilling story, which is an absolutely phenomenal thing. Yeah. And I laud Kurt Schilling. you can disagree with Kurt Schilling all you want, but man, I laud the way he handled that, the way he outed these trolls who said absolutely horrible, horrific things about his daughter. He shamed them. He put their pictures out there, and now the internet is just weighing in and lambasting them. They've lost jobs. They've been kicked out of school.
Good for him.
And I absolutely laud him, because unless people start fighting back for this kind of thing, the society, it just gets more and more rampant. I know that people have a right to free speech, but free speech comes with consequences, and I hope they get all that.
That was brutal.
Yeah.
Just because you can post something doesn't mean you should.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you don't have anything nice to say, put it on the internet.
Exactly. When we come back, why'd you post that? Facebook Theater, ladies and gentlemen, coming up moments from now. Stick around.
In a moment.
Oh, no, it's the other way. It's the other way. And it's very, you go and you walk through the showroom, and you pick whatever it is. Everything's got Swedish names. You can't, everything's got Swedish names, a lot of consonants.
And you got to put everything together.
Yeah, and then you walk down to this massive warehouse.
Yeah.
And you go through and you find what you want, and you bring out the plastic box, and you take it home.
Give you a nondescript box, and you got to go home and put it together, and stop at the liquor store on the way home.
Dude, when you go to put it together, just pictures, no words.
No words.
Oh, that makes it easier, doesn't it?
Maybe.
I don't know.
For every person that says yes, there's 3 people who have struggled because they had 9 screws that they didn't know where they went. So, but it is, it's definitely an interesting place.
I like to pick up my furniture all put together.
Me too. I'll pay extra for it.
And I like to buy it from someone right here in New England.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm talking about.
Local furniture.
Thank you.
Today is National Pancake Day.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are we hungry?
I was wondering what I was going to do this afternoon.
Why are we
hungry? That's the answer.
Why are we hungry? Yeah.
Bring me some pancake regulars.
10th anniversary of this hotcake holiday. The International House of Pancakes, IHOP, again giving away free flapjacks. In exchange, IHOP asking customers for a donation to the Children's Miracle Network Hospital.
Pretty cool.
For them.
Pretty cool, man.
Good for them.
Eating peanuts might lower your chances of dying from a heart attack. That is eating peanuts, roadkill. A new study by Vanderbilt University and the Shanghai Cancer Institute shows that eating peanuts was associated with fewer deaths among all races, especially from heart disease.
Peanut pancakes. You're welcome, IHOP. Get on it.
Peanut, very
jelly on there.
Jelly.
Peanut butter and jelly pancakes.
Right. So
never
had
that,
uptake.
Glass of milk. You kidding me?
I never had it. I'm sure it's delicious.
I know.
Down Fair Tire Sports. Celtics go up against LeBron James and the Cavaliers tonight in Cleveland. Weather coming up.
Trending in the news.
Net neutrality. And then if you put it in different things, you'd have to sleep with 644 guys for 30 years.
Per day.
Per day.
All right.
Is that from a girl or a guy?
Because I said, he said only 7 million people watch this show.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. But if you put it in different numbers, like if you're laying in bed with a girl and you're like, thanks, she's like, thank you, because I've slept with now 7 million guys. That's a big thing.
Yeah, 30 years is a long time.
Yeah,
You're really
or
knocking them out.
322 guys for 60 years.
Yeah, it depends on how you go about it. Jimmy Dunn is in.
Either way, she's not looking good.
Right. The McCarthys.
I don't want to be last.
The McCarthys on CBS, and it's funny because as we sit here and we talk about that, 7 million people. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
When you go back, I always go back to the classic television story of Seinfeld.
Yep.
Because its first year, few people watched it. I mean, the mega phenomenon that became the Seinfeld show started off very slowly, and one of the great stories in television history was somebody at the executive at NBC was smart enough to let that show grow.
It got canceled originally.
Yeah, and it doesn't happen anymore.
Right.
It really doesn't happen anymore. And so we live in a different time where everything's immediate and it's got to be done very, very quickly, blah, blah, blah. And you wonder, if the next great show never gets the chance to deliver because you can't have a show that is dynamite gangbusters out of the gate most of the time.
Yeah.
It happens. But rarely.
And every now and then it'll happen, and then they'll fail in 6 months too.
Right.
And people go, "Oh, this really isn't that."
Right.
And family comedies take a while to build.